Hey, everybody, and welcome to this Facebook Live. Um, okay, so back a few months ago, I think I did the last one like 8 months ago. I had this whole video series going. Can we talk about your WordPress projects? And I was doing it with a coffee mug and being really cute and saying, can we talk about your WordPress projects? But that got really old really fast. I was just trying to be cute. But I'm bringing the series back because we've been doing a bi-weekly chat on Mondays and Fridays. And now that the complete project management roadmap for WordPress is complete, I want to do more in this group with the project management 101 stuff and the beginning stuff. We just need to set a foundation for things. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be changing. The topic of today's discussion is the hard truth about your WordPress competition. All right, so the statistics about your WordPress competition. Listen to this. According to W3Techs, WordPress has 61, and this was, I think this study was done in February of this year, so it's very recent. 61%, almost 62% of the CMS market. WordPress has that much of the market share. Around 455 million websites are using WordPress right now, which means that around 20% of all self-hosted websites use WordPress. As of today, at 11:20 this morning, WordPress 5.4 has been downloaded over 57,915,925 times. Oh, I'm going to put this, hey Ben, hey Eben, I'm going to put this link in the chat on where you can get this WordPress. It's from .org, this counter that shows how many times it's been downloaded. The one thing I don't know though is if my host provides a one-click install and I install WordPress, is that even counted in this list? Because this says downloads. Let me put that link in there for you. One moment. I thought I had it up on my screen, but I don't. One moment. Don't you hate it when people aren't prepared? All right, 1 second. I'm going to put it. Now it says 57,952,881 times just since, what I say it was before, 915. So it's gone up 40,000, roughly 40,000 more in the last 3 hours. So that's just incredible, y'all. Over 30% of all online stores run on WooCommerce. And in 2019, 277 WordCamps took place in 41 hosting countries, 687 meetup events, and WordPress.tv videos publishing increased by 26%. There's even more. There are about 57 million freelance workers in the United States. That does not necessarily mean website developers. It just means freelancers. In September of 2019, 125,000 developer and 75,000 designer freelancers were on Upwork. They don't let you do that same kind of search anymore. So I got tired of going through the pages. But in 2019, I did that research, and it was 125,000 developers and 75,000 designers on Upwork. Right now, this morning, there are 1,690 WordPress jobs on freelancer.com. So that's huge. It's huge that there's that much competition out there, because you're no longer just competing with the people in your own geographic area. If you had a brick and mortar store, unless that's your niche, I mean, that might just be your niche, but unless you have a brick and mortar store, local doesn't matter anymore. Well, yeah, it does. But what I'm saying, I'm not articulating this very well, but you understand what I'm saying, that WordPress market that you're competing with is everywhere, because we can reach across, the oceans and the spans of everything with the internet. Now, here's what most website designers, developers, agencies, freelancers, solopreneurs, whatever you want to call yourself. And I would caution you against calling yourself a freelancer because it has a very bad connotation. That's not your fault. That's the fault of the people that came before you that were crappy freelancers. But you know what? That's a topic for a whole nother live session. But so here's what WordPress solution providers, that's what I like to call us. You might not be a true developer. You might not be a true designer, but if you're solving your clients' business problems with WordPress websites, you are a website solution provider, and that's what I prefer to call us. But here's what most of us all offer. Some or all of these things: website design, website building, search engine optimization, care plans or site optimization, hosting, web audits, online marketing, sales funnels, e-commerce. There are more things, but those were the ones that come top of mind when you think about what do people like us provide for people. So adding more services is not the solution to all of this competition. And you know, now that people are losing their jobs and looking for other things to do, things they can do from home, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. But everybody is doing all of the things that I went through on that list. So what you really need is a unique value proposition. Now, what is a unique value proposition? Well, you know that I would not be teaching you anything if I didn't have at least one slide to show you. So let me share my screen real quick. Now, you should be seeing a graphic. You know, there's like a 20-second delay. Hey, Jesse. A 20-second delay. So I don't know if you're seeing the right screen. Yes, you are. Okay, you're seeing the right screen. So a unique value proposition is the unique value, and that I've underscored the word unique and put it in red because it has to be something that nobody else or very few others are doing, provided by your business to your target customers. So in some cases, depending on what your niche is, it's pretty easy to figure out what your unique value proposition is. Maybe you provide sites to plumbers and you used to be a plumber. Okay, so that's a unique value proposition. But what if that's not the case? You've got to come up with something that's going to set you apart from all those other WordPress providers. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. We'll come back. I got something else to share with you in a few minutes. But so what do clients really care about? All right, so studies have been done. Better proposals. I have friends who have used better proposals to figure out where their clients are spending the most time when they're reviewing their proposals and things like that. And it comes out to about like this. Customers care about the cost about 75%. Now, that doesn't mean that they're necessarily always looking for the lowest cost. And quite frankly, those people who are looking for the lowest cost are probably not your best customer. But they're concerned with the cost. They spend about 75% of their time on the cost section of the proposal. After that is the timeline. When is it going to get done? And they spend about 20% of their time there. You know how much time they spend on the solution itself? About 5%. Because at this point in the process, they're not really concerned with the specifics of the solution. And one of the mistakes I see newbie practitioners make is putting the whole shebang in that proposal. You've worked out exactly how everything should be, and you give them your entire solution. Well, there's a number of problems with that. That's not really the topic of this discussion today, but you just give away your solution that they can then take to somebody else and get it done cheaper. So that's never, ever, ever a good idea. But we'll talk about proposals and master services agreements and all that in a later session. But if your clients care most about cost, timeline, and very little about the solution. Well, the first thing is you can't compete on price anyway, because there are so many providers in so many other parts of the world who have a completely different economic framework than we do. And so they're able to offer things at a very low cost, but it's still very profitable to them. So you can't compare apples to apples, and that, I mean, apples to oranges. So you can't compete on price. You know what? You can't really compete on design either, because that's completely subjective. I mean, Amazon is a freaking ugly website, but everyone still uses it. It's completely subjective, the whole design piece. So you can't really compete on that unless you have such a track history of beautiful designs that might set you apart. Nobody cares what your background is in design. Nobody cares about, you know, that you studied this or you have an MSA or any of that. Nobody cares. All they want to know is, how much is it going to cost? When is it going to get done? And can you do those? Can you guarantee that it's going to get done on time within budget? So the other things that you have to fight against, I have to look at my notes, y'all. Oh, a lot of people will say, well, it's my add-on services like SEO and all that other stuff. Care plans, it's my web audits. But you know what? Everybody else is doing that too. And you can't be sure that you actually are doing that better than everyone else. So that can't be your unique value proposition. And the other things that you have to fight against when you're dealing with competition is not just other WordPress providers, but you have to, hey, Oladapo, you have to compete with the 1 hour website bullshit. Excuse me for saying a bad word, but it's bullshit. Yeah, you can build a website in an hour. Is it going to perform the way that you need it to perform? Probably not, but that's the mindset that our clients have. How hard can this be? It says on TV, I can build one in an hour. I see that on YouTube all the time. It comes up with Wix or Squarespace or all of that sort of stuff. And it really makes me mad. I want to throw something at the TV every time one of those ads comes on. And the other thing that you have to fight against is the previous flighty freelancer. This is why I don't want you to call yourselves freelancers, because how many times has somebody gotten a website built, maybe for a low cost, but it's crap? Or they got a website built, nobody ever taught them how to maintain it, they don't know how to maintain it, and then that developer disappears, right? There's a lot of people out there who've gotten that experience. So when you're pitching to them or trying to find new clients and new leads, you've also got to fight against the guy who came before you who really screwed up. So there's just so much to fight against. I hate to use the word fight against. There's so much to overcome when you're dealing with all of this competition. The other thing is, honestly, one WordPress solution, other than the design, is not going to be that much different than the next if everyone is focusing on the business requirements. You know, there's going to be a theme, there's going to be some plugins, might be a little CSS and a little extra code, but for the most part, they're going to be pretty much the same. So it's really hard to compete like that, because you really don't want to share with them what your entire solution is to begin with. Here's what you need to establish with your clients early on: that you and your clients are colleagues. They are not the boss of you. They are not your employer. You guys are at the same level working on a project to help them. Instead of going in there as if they're the boss. And in this environment, the customer is not always right, most of the time, but not always right. But you need to establish yourself as colleagues, that you're an expert in your lane and they're an expert in their lane, and you're going to work together. You're going to put those skills together to come up with a solution. Now, there's a whole nother discussion about keeping the client in their own lane, but because they want to become the designer or they want to become the developer. But that's, again, a whole nother discussion. The other thing you need to establish is respect for what is involved in building a website. This is a huge complaint. I hear it all the time. Hey, Melanie, challenges. Oh, right. but I hear this all the time, is my clients don't understand what's involved in building a website. My clients don't respect what's involved in building a website. And part of that is because of this whole $100 website deal, or the website in an hour, or $100 website. All of that sets the wrong mindset in our clients' eyes. Then the third thing you need to do is set yourself the third thing you need to establish is respect for you as a professional. Now, all of those are a little bit related, but you and your client are colleagues. They need to respect what's involved in building a website, what the job entails, and they need to respect you as a professional. So how do you make that happen? Well, let me ask you this question. Let me ask you a series of questions. What if you could tell your client that other guys will pad the quote to cover for unknowns or things they're not sure about, but that you don't do that because you make sure you stay focused on the business requirements of the website and meeting those business requirements? What if you could tell your client that other projects suffer from scope creep? You'd have to explain to them what it is, but that's never a good thing. Scope creep's not a good thing for you. It's also not a good thing for the client. But your projects won't suffer from scope creep because you know that change is inevitable and you manage that change. What if you could tell the client that other projects suffer from delays related to content creation and content collection, but that yours won't because you have excuse me, you have a proven process in place to manage that process, manage the whole section, the whole phase of your project where you're dealing with content creation and content collection. What if you could tell your clients that you could guarantee that you would get their projects completed on time, within budget, with the right business requirements? What if you had a certification that labeled you as someone who is a consummate professional in project management, so that you could prove that you know what you say you know and that you can actually do these things? So that's what's going to set you apart. The client cares most about cost and timeline. So if you can tell them how you can keep costs down and how you can keep the project on schedule using proven techniques that have been proven for 20, 30, 40 years already, it can be done, people. I've done it for a long, long time. But you got to set these processes in place. But these are the common ways that web development, the common things, problems that web development projects run into all the time. So if you already know what they are, and you're already telling your client, these are things that happen all the time, but here's what we're going to do about it, that is going to set you apart as a professional. Now, how do you accomplish all that? How can you get all of that done? Well, you need to establish repeatable processes that are based on proven models. Okay, well, all right, let's just do that. All right, so how are you going to do that? You'd be going all over the place trying to look for that stuff. Pardon me. I've been drinking this bubbly water. I'm on this weight loss program. Oh, Melanie, thank you for the blackberry. That is very delicious. I've been drinking this fizzy water because I don't care for, I miss my diet soda. So this is a good way to get my water in, but still feel like I'm having a soda. But it does give you a little bit of gas from time to time. I apologize for that. Okay, so where was I? Oh, you need to establish these processes. Now, which processes do you need to establish? So I have a list of the most critical processes that you need to establish and have like just ironed out and nailed down to really have a successful, an agency that can make these project management claims. There we go. All right, so these are the essential processes that you need for good project management. The first is estimating. You need to have a process for your proposal presentations. You need to know how you're going to do that each and every time. It needs to follow a process. Client management. I think Nathan Ingram calls this building fences around friendly monsters. You have to have those processes. There's several sub-processes when it comes to client management. Requirements definition. How are you going to ensure that you get the requirements right on the front end or close to right? Change control. This is the biggest one. This is the one that controls scope creep. You have to have a really good change control process, and you have to stick to it religiously every single time. And then you need an acceptance management process. Now, there are other processes and also sub-processes of these that you need over time, but these are the 6 most essential in order to have good project management. Now, everything that I just shared with you is in Module 1, Lesson 1 of the free membership to the WP Project Managers Academy. So if you haven't yet joined, also in Module 1, Lesson 1, I give you a download of 8 questions you need to be prepared to ask, even if the client doesn't. You need to be prepared to answer, even if the client doesn't ask. And you can get that download inside the course. And I also use that tool as a method as a sales tool. Because once I've answered all those questions, Melanie has posted Nathan Ingram's book. Or no, that's a WordPress TV recording of him talking about dealing with problem clients. Thank you, Melanie. Those 8 questions. You can use it as a sales tool, because once you have the processes in place and you know that what your good answers are to those questions, what you do is give those questions to your client and say, if you're interviewing other people, I would really highly recommend that you ask them these questions, because if they can't answer them, then you need to be concerned. Even if you don't choose me, you need to be concerned about choosing them if they can't answer these questions. And I'm just trying to help you. So it can be, I use it all the time. It works great because then they ask those questions and most other WordPress providers can't answer them. So if you haven't signed up for the WP Project Managers Academy yet, I encourage you to do so. Now, let me explain for those of you who haven't been hanging around for a while and aren't familiar. The WP Project Managers Academy is free. When you join the Academy, you get immediate access to WordPress Project Management 101. And that's where that Module 1, Lesson 1 is, and where that download is. Hey, Cammie. And so once you sign up for the program, that's free. There's a whole bunch more in there, all right? The other thing is the premium membership, which is the complete project management roadmap for WordPress. That is more of a, okay, so let me explain. The WordPress Project Management 101 roadmap will give you everything you need to set up these processes, but it's more of a do-it-yourself kind of approach. And there's also a lot of basic project management information in there. The premium membership is more of a done for you. Now, I do give you lots of templates and cheat sheets and things like that in the beginner program or the basic program, but the premium membership has a whole bunch more of that. I want you to sign up for the free program. I want you to go through that. And that's one reason I am adding a certification to the basic program. There'll be a more advanced certification to the other program in the future as well. Haven't quite decided what we're going to call it, and I'm probably going to be asking for some input from you guys on that. But I think that it will be a great way for you to establish yourself as someone who's studied project management. You know these techniques, you've got processes in place, and that will help you set yourself apart from the average Joe. And there's going to be or Jill, and there's going to be a whole bunch more of those average Joes and average Jills out there as this thing progresses that we're all struggling with all over the world. So let me see, what else did I want to tell you about this? The certification's coming soon. Oh, one thing you might want to think about is if you've gotten convinced from this presentation that you might need to really beef up your project management skills and you want to go all in, then when you join the premium membership, you also get the PM 101 immediately. So, but the way it is right now, because up until now, I started the price really, really low at a monthly membership. Then it got a little bit higher and a little bit higher as I expanded the program. Now it's finally complete. Yay. It's finally finished except for the manual, which will come later. So if you want to do that, and you can get in now at the very lowest monthly price, because there'll be one more price increase, and it's probably going to be a big one. I don't have the details worked out yet, but it's going to be more than it is now. So if you wanted to go all in, you could go ahead and opt for that. But if you can't handle that, that's fine. And right now it's at $45 a month. But that's good. That's okay. Just join the free program. I want you to get through the free program and get the certificate and the little badge to put on your website. And then you can worry about the rest later. I know I shouldn't be talking like that. I should be trying to sell you the premium membership, right? But I'm more interested in you getting what you need than I am with selling you something. But I wanted to give you, oops, I hit my microphone, sorry. I talk with my hands a lot. I wanted to give you the options that you have available right now. So, the other thing is, those people that get in now at this early time, as we develop more products that we're going to be putting together, one of the things I believe I'm going to be putting together is a variety of different project plans for different project types. Well, I mean, website development from scratch, that's one. Reworking a website, redoing a website, that's another one. But then there's all these things like setting up a care plan. That really does require a project plan. Setting up a process by which you're going to do your care plans. Or let's say you decided to do a WAS. So you need a project plan for that. So I'm hoping to work with some of the experts, some of the instructors that are in the premium membership in the Complete Project Management Roadmap for WordPress. Oh, if you take that one, you get more instruction from other people than just me, because I'm not an expert in all things surrounding project management. All the stuff that's got to come before it and all the stuff that's got to come after it. I'm only an expert in the middle. And people don't like to use the word expert, but I think I'm an expert. So all I'm saying to you is join the WP Project Managers Academy if you're looking for a way to set yourself apart from your competition. And that will help you immensely. And I'm going to be working a lot harder in the next few weeks to encourage and prod and get people through that program so that they can earn the certificate, which, by the way, is not worked out yet, but I have the basics down. I've got to add it to the website too, because there'll be quizzes and maybe a final exam, things like that. So you'll also, if you followed me for a while or you've been watching my trainings, you'll also know that I adhere to the U.S. military method of training. Tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. So I'm going to share my screen one more time. So as a review, new WordPress agencies are popping up every single day, and the competition is just getting stiffer and stiffer and stiffer. It's pointless to try to compete on price, design talent, or technical skills, because there's so many people and nobody cares. All the client cares about is cost and timeline. So you need a different, unique value proposition to show your client that you can get that project done on time and within budget. Showing how you can keep that cost down and get the projects completed on time can be used as your unique value proposition. I get so excited about this, y'all. You can get what you need from the WP Project Managers Academy in the WordPress Project Management 101 roadmap. It's more of a done for you. It may take a little bit longer to get those things together, but you can definitely do it with just that program. And we're going to be adding a certification so that you can prove that you've studied this stuff and that you know what you're talking about. And if you decide that you'd rather go all in now to the premium membership, you can buy now and save. This is what I wanted to tell you about today, guys. So pay attention to your WordPress competition, figure out what your unique value proposition is, and I seriously hope I see you inside the WP Project Managers Academy as soon as possible. All right, so hopefully you found this helpful. Hopefully you found it inspiring to figure out what your unique value proposition is, and maybe you can come up with one that's not related to project management, like I gave the example before. Melanie's a perfect example. Melanie Adcock's a perfect example. Most of her clients, her niche is churches and retirement homes. And she used to work for a church. So she knows all the ins and outs that churches suffer from and exactly what they're looking for. So that's her unique value proposition. But if you don't have something like that because you're not that well versed in any particular niche, or you're more of a generalist, then the project management can really be a lifesaver. So until next Monday, when we will have another installment of Can We Talk About Your WordPress Projects? Stay productive, stay strong, and never stop learning. Bye, y'all.